The Kano State government has declared a 24-hour curfew following the judgment of the Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sacking the governor, Abba Yusuf. The Commissioner of Police, Mohammed Gumel, in a broadcast said a combined team of security operatives have been discharged and put across the state to ensure the curfew. The commissioner in a statement noted that the order came in response to a directive from the state government ordering that a combined team of security operatives have been dispatched across the state. Hours earlier, the tribunal declared the All Progressives Congress candidate Nasiru Gowon as the winner of the March 18th election, prompting celebration among supporters of the APC. The judgment nullified the election of Yusuf, who contested under the platform of the New Nigerian People's Party and was declared the winner of the election by the Independent National Electoral Commission. The three-man judicial panel, after hearing the petition, ordered the withdrawal of the certificate of return, which INEC presented to Yusuf, and directed the certificate be returned or be issued to Gowon. All of this is coming 2 days after the candidate of the People's Democratic Party and that of the Labour Party in the last presidential election filed an 86-ground case at the Supreme Court against the earlier presidential tribunal verdict affirming the victory of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the last election. But the big question and the big story for today is, with more tribunal cases to come in states like Delta, Rivers, Kaduna and others, should a peaceful appealing the judgment of the earlier court not be the way to go, rather than states or the nation go off in smokes on account of election judgment? And what can we do to take violence off our elections and election cases? Well, these and more as it concerns election cases and the resultant reaction to it is what this edition of the big story is all about. And we're talking about judicial election judgment and citizens' reaction. And that's what we're looking at today on the big story. Indeed, you agree that it's big. Looking at what seems to be playing out in Kano, and most especially, we'll definitely know that in the coming weeks or months, more of this tribunal verdict will be read out, and the reactions that will follow will definitely not be an appealing one, but we appeal for nothing but peace to reign on account of this. But anyway, talking about it, we have to be joined by two lovely guests, and especially from the legal angle. We have every reason in putting them on. And we're talking of no other person but Barrister Godwin Ejegba joining us on this lovely discussion. Good morning and welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning and thank you for having me today.
And also joining us via phone is no other person but Barrister Ejire Tagene is also joining for us to look at all of this that seems to be on the table and look at the issues together. I guess he's there. Good morning and welcome to the show. Okay, hello, Barrister Ejire Tagene. Okay, we'll see how we can really bring him on board, and when we do...
I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me better. Now, nice having you on it.
Good morning, Michael Gobadi. I can hear you loud and clear.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Barrister Ejire Tagene, and I feel I should just even rather start off with you. Sir, first, are you surprised with the curfew imposed on Kano as a result of the tribunal judgment? Do you feel it's in order? Because why I ask, as a build-up to that very judgment, we had a serving commissioner threaten one of the panel judges, and not only that, we also learned that that verdict were delivered via Zoom because of the tension in the state. So my question, do you feel the curfew is in order, and are you surprised that there seems to be growing tension over there in Kano?
I am not surprised that there is violence in Kano at all, because during the hearing of the petition,
yes,
the magnitude and the magnitude of evidence presented by the petitioner, which is the APC, showed clearly that they were overvoting in some polling units in Kano, and that put serious fears in the spines of the NNPP, including the governor. So they organized a lot of protests, and they employed a lot of threatening members of the tribunal, members of the panel, threatening the judiciary and all that. And so it didn't come to me as a surprise at all. We know what is happening in Kano. The Kwakwasiya movement, they are talakawas, so to say. They are hardly educated. They are people who can mobilize over the years, who follow the Kwakwasiya ideology. And so once a man gives them, only one man gives them a directive, go there, burn the house, and that will be done. And so it didn't come to me as a surprise that they resorted to violence immediately after the judgment. But one thing is clear, you cannot intimidate the judiciary. You cannot employ intimidation or threat to and twist the men of the judiciary. Judicial office are empowered to dispense justice without fear or favor. They carry their job based on they carry out their task based on the evidence, the pleadings, the evidence, and the facts. Were you able to prove your case as required by the law? That is the bottom line of the justice delivery. Were you able to prove your case? There are standards of proof. If you are making an allegation in a civil action, the standard of proof is there.
Okay.
For a criminal action, the standard of proof is beyond reasonable doubt.
Okay.
For a civil action, it's on the preponderance of evidence. And so if the tribunal has given a judgment and they have agreed with the petitioner that they proved their case, and over 167,000 votes were deducted from the NNPP votes, giving way to the APC candidate to be declared as the governor-elect, the proper thing for anybody who is aggrieved to do is to go to the appellate court, is to go to the court of appeal, and from there to the Supreme Court. And so it is not yet even Uhuru yet. It's not yet Uhuru for the APC as a political party and the candidate Gauna. Yeah. Okay. So why are they resorting to violence? Okay. It is most condemnable.
Okay, well, I'll come back to you, Barrister Ejiro Etagene. Let me bring you into it, Barrister Godwin Ojigba. This will be one of the first violence we're experiencing on account of a tribunal verdict. And, well, it's not a sweet one in the mouths of many Nigerians. It gives that sour taste. But a quick reaction to it. Should we really be concerned about such reactions coming out from a tribunal verdict? And how really disturbing is this for other cases also that are pending as it stands?
Well, we should be concerned. Concerned because ordinarily, yes, as my learned friend has rightly said, this is not the final court. There are still some other steps to be taken before you can remove the governor. As yes, it is, he's still in office as we stand. Now, what has happened, as he also said, is because of the high level of illiteracy. You know, once I was here, I keep talking about education. Of course you do. And because the people are illiterate, they are easily manipulated. And of course, across the country too, that's the kind of things that you find. So once there is this situation in Kano, it could snowball into some of these other tribunal judgments that has not been given. Yeah. And so for that reason, we really need to be concerned. But I think that it is not the right thing to do. The right thing to do is to look at the judgment. If there are grounds on which we can appeal, you take appeal. You saw the case of Oshu State, yes, where the governor won at the tribunal, he lost at the appeal, and then won again at the Supreme Court before he became the governor as it is now. Yeah. So there are 6 steps that we need to climb before getting to the final day. And until that is done, we didn't need to go violent at all. Let us ensure that we are civil, because we're already under democracy, and democracy ensuring that you should practice it in a civilized manner.
Okay, well, anyway, Barrister Ejiro Etagene, let me quickly come back to you. Hello, are you still there with us, sir? Hello? Okay, let's see how we can bring him on board. because this question would definitely, that's the reason I brought both of you, knowing that you're from the judiciary and itself, and it's really quite a pathetic one as it stands now. But let me, before we bring Barrister Ejiro back to it, let me remain with you, sir. Now, lately, all eyes seems to be on the judiciary. That's how it is. And it has been alleged that some of the tribunal judgments have not been popular with the people. The recent tribunal judgment we had. And, but anyway, it really depends on what side you are, though, and your political affiliation, and with your own assertion on what the judgment is. But my question is, why is this growing animosity towards or against tribunal judges and judgment? And how really disturbing is this recent trend? Because, like I said, we even had a commissioner threatening the life of one of the panel judges. That has never been done before.
No.
Never in the history of Nigeria when you have a serving commissioner threatening a judge. So let's understand, why is this growing animosity towards judges and tribunal verdicts?
You see, the way it is this. The society's expectation is different from what the judiciary turns out. Now, the judiciary, in reaching a decision, will look at the fact played before it, the pleadings filed and all of it.
Yes.
And so, based on the evidence that is adduced, what are the facts that you have? How have you been able to argue these facts and support them with the relevant law? Once you do that, the judiciary will come to one way or the other. But those people who are reacting are people who were there on the field. They saw the votes and they cast the vote themselves. So on the basis of the vote that they cast, they presume, rightly or wrongly, that the thing should have been this way.
Rather than the other.
Rather than the other. So in the court of public opinion, they would have formed their opinion on who should win. And when it didn't go that way, I recall too that because in our present political dispensation, the winner takes it all.
Of course.
So once you win, it is up to you to allocate the largest of office. So those people that are getting angry are feeling so because they are now being deprived. They know that their subsistence and existence depend largely on whatever they get from governance. And so this is why the tension is.
So you feel that's the reason for the growing tension?
It's the reason, just the allocation and distribution of resources.
Barrister Ejiro Itagene. Hello, sir. Hello. Okay, we thought we had him join us because I'm really concerned about this, because this way it is. Yeah, Barrister Ejiro Itagene, you're still there with us?
Yes.
Now, lately, like I asked Barrister Godwin Ojigba, lately all the eye seems to be on the judiciary. And not only that, there's this alleged feeling of animosity towards the judges and the tribunal judgment on account of some of the unpopular verdicts being given. It depends on which political side divide you seem to be. But my question is, why is this growing animosity there between judges and even this tribunal verdict? Because, like I asked Barrister Ojigba, this is one of the first time we are hearing a commissioner, a serving commissioner, threatening a judge. And wow, it has never happened in the history of Nigeria, and it gives everybody every reason to be concerned. So why is that growing animosity towards judges and tribunal verdicts?
That is really desperation. Desperation is what is causing it. And then there is this perception. The perception out there is that judges in Nigeria can easily be bought over, that they are corrupt. So when people go to court, they have it at the back of their mind that, look, if either this judge will deliver this justice fairly, or it will be influenced by money, or influenced by other inducement. So they always have that at the back of their mind. So because of that, they go to court or to go to the tribunal with a mindset, the mindset of the fact that I may not get justice here. And when you have this premonition that you may not have justice, and you are desperate, having regard to the kind of the political system we practice in Nigeria, where a winner takes all, people become desperate. They have spent so much money during the campaign. I think that must have cost the threat issued by the commissioner from Kano State. But the truth of the matter remains that the judiciary needs to purge itself of this perception.
Yeah, perception of Nigeria.
They need to purge itself of this perception so that they will regain the confidence of the general public. But be that as it may, the judiciary cannot be isolated from the entire Nigeria society where, you know, every aspect of the country, every organ, every institution of government is infested with corruption. So the judiciary is not in isolation. But we still believe that it's still the least corrupt. Men of the judiciary are still believed to be men of integrity. That is, of course, why, even though people have this perception that they are corrupt, they still ventilate their anger, you know, in the courts. Yeah. They still go to the courts. Even as we speak now, you will see that the man who has lost the case yesterday,
we'll definitely go on appeal.
Go to the appellate court. He's still telling you that, look, we have confidence that the appellate court will give us justice. Okay. Then even if the court of appeal decides, like in the presidential petition, they will still tell you that they have implicit confidence in the judiciary and they are going upstairs, which is the Supreme Court. And until the Supreme Court decides, you know, the ball is still rolling. So that is the situation we have found ourselves.
Okay. Now,
politicians should be careful with the way they take issues.
Okay.
And again, we also propose that there will be need for us to take another look at our political system, where because of the money politicians spend, they become very desperate. Very desperate for power. I read about the Italian system. For you to become a prime minister in Italy, all you need to do is an equivalent of contesting for a House of Representatives in Nigeria. So you won't spend so much money. Contest for a House of Representatives, go to Abuja, amongst you, just like the way you elect the Speaker of the House of Representatives, he automatically becomes the Prime Minister. And that was exactly what we practiced at independence in 1960 and 1963. So that is what we should take a look at.
Barrister Ejire, please, I want us to really understand this, and that's the reason I brought both of you on board. And let's look at the reasons why most tribunals will give their verdict. Let's look at what they look at, because that has also been on the front burner, looking at why some cases either go this way or the other. And we do know that tribunals deal with cases based on judgment, especially as it concerns the 1999 Constitution as amended. They also use the new Electoral Act 2021 rather, and they also look at the INEC rules and regulation guidelines on issues as it concerns the election. But why I'm asking this question, do they also look at how the cases are also being filed? Because we see many cases also being thrown away on ground of them not being filed properly. So let's look at all of these. Are all of these what makes the tribunal gives its verdict, and or they have to look at other issues before finally giving their verdict?
Yes, you see, when an issue, before a court will hear a matter, the matter must be properly before it. Once the matter is not properly before the court, then the court will have what we call no jurisdiction. The court will not have the powers to look at the case in the first place. And so if you do not file your case properly, in other words, maybe you file out of time, or you did not do anything that the law requires you to do, then you have gone contrary to the law. And in that case, the opponent may raise what we call a plenary objection through a motion, and your case can be dismissed or struck out at that preliminary stage. That is for that. Now, once it's case through the preliminary stage, in other words, the case was properly filed and it was filed within time in compliance with the law, the next thing the judge will do, or the tribunal will do, is to look at the evidence, the law, the evidence, the facts, and your pleading. Well, pleadings is for your petition now. What did you say? What is the allegation? You use the allegation, like in the case of APC in Kano and Delta State, has to do with the issue of overvoting in certain units and falsification of results in certain wards. Okay. So what is the evidence? Where is the evidence to show? The evidence to show is one, the BVAS, certified copy of your BVAS report, the card reader, the voters register, according to what the Supreme Court has decided in the Oyetola case. You bring all these and tender them. Then you say that, look, having regard to the BVAS report, 75 persons were accredited. But the result from this unit shows that...
Shows differently.
That 250 persons voted. We agree that the total voting strength in that unit is 300. But however, those who collected their PVC is just 200. You know, that's the way you... So you have to demonstrate this in court to sway the mind of the judge, to prove, like the APC has done in Kano, that look, there was an overvoting.
Okay.
To prove an overvoting is not an easy task, but once the evidence is glaring, for example, you can call for the physical count of ballot papers.
Okay.
The court will make an order, bring the boss to the court, and they will count it physically. Sometimes it shows that those who voted that they were not up to the figures
being reflected. Okay.
Written on the result sheet from EC8A.
Okay. Sometimes
what the rigging takes place at the coalition center at the ward level or at the local government level when they just change figures.
Okay, Barrister I'll plead with you to hold on because we need to go on a break now. But Barrister Godwin Ojigba, you heard all he said. So are we saying all of these cases in the different tribunal are being looked at on these different grounds he raised?
Clearly, yes.
Okay.
You see, there is no way you are going to do a case before a judge. Now, this is a panel of 3 members.
Okay.
Now, it is not just one person. If it were one person, we say maybe you could gloss over it.
Okay.
Because we're bound to make mistakes. But the 3 of them, one must spot.
Look at it as it comes. Differently.
Differently. So where there is going to be a mistake, it must be spotted by one of them in the process of filing.
Okay.
Then when looking at the law too, they also look at everything.
Okay.
No, we always say that 2 good heads are better than 1. So in any
but
case,
in all of these verdicts, can one disagree with the other 2?
Yes.
And the verdict will go for those of the 2 rather than one?
Yes. That's why you have minority judgment and majority judgment. But the majority in this case will win.
Oh.
So in some cases, since there are 3, if 2 are on one side, 1 is on one side, then the 2 is 1. Then like in the presidential appeal where you have 5 member judges, 3 can be on one side, 2 can be on one side. I'm sure in the case of Basanjo and Buhari the other time, it was also a split decision like that too. So it does happen since there are 2 or 3 members. You know, when they look at it, depending on how you see it. But when they all agree on the same fact, it's the fact that is presented before them. They look at the fact.
So that is overwhelming.
Once it is overwhelming, and the matter is all over. And it's decided based on the preponderance of evidence before the court.
But like I stated earlier, the 1999 Constitution,
all of them
new Electoral Act, all of them are put into
looked at because first of all, the qualification for contesting an election is provided for in the Constitution.
Okay.
The law that makes you to be able to contest the election is provided for by the Electoral Act. It is that the Electoral Act that started.
Then what of the INEC rules and regulation, the guideline? Can that also be
they can still be taken into Constitution, but where they run counter to the Constitution, then they are thrown out because the Constitution, you know, is supreme.
Okay, well, anyway, the thing we need to do now, which is more supreme for us, is to go on the break. But when we come back, we'll continue our discussion as we look at citizens' reaction, especially to most of the election verdicts that have already been decided in most states and also on the Federation. Let's look at these and let's go on that break. And when we come back, more discussion centered on all of it.